47 seconds. That is how long it took for Donald Trump to realize his own attorney general had just turned on him in front of cameras. Not in a private meeting, not in a sealed deposition, in a public forum with microphones live and recording devices running. 47 seconds for Pam Bondi to say the words Epstein Island donation and watch Trump's face do something it almost never does. Go completely blank. You need to see this from the beginning, because what happened in that room is not just about $847 billion. It is about a loyalty break that nobody predicted. It is about documents that were supposed to stay buried. And it is about the moment two people who protected each other for years decided that protection was over. If you are new here, subscribe right now and turn on notifications, because what you are about to see is the most explosive political confrontation of this administration, and it happened less than 72 hours ago. Let me set the scene for you. Mar-a-Lago, private conference room, 3rd floor, the one Trump uses for meetings he does not want logged on official schedules. Tuesday afternoon. The meeting was listed internally as a DOJ strategic alignment session. Strategic alignment. By the time this meeting ended, those words would sound like a sick joke. Trump arrived with 2 advisors. Bondi arrived alone. That should have been the first signal. Bondi never shows up to Trump meetings alone. She always brings counsel, always brings a witness, always brings someone who can verify what was said. Not today. Today she walked in with a leather portfolio under her arm and nothing else. Trump noticed. You could see it in the way he glanced at her hands when she sat down. No phone, no recorder, no backup. He thought that meant she came unarmed. He was wrong. The first 20 minutes were exactly what Trump expected. Budget discussions. Prosecutorial priorities, standard talking points about the administration's law enforcement agenda. Bondi gave her standard answers. Trump nodded along. He checked his watch twice, clearly ready to move on to the next thing. And then Bondi said the sentence that changed the temperature in that room. Mr. President, I need to ask you about a donation. Trump looked up, not concerned, not defensive, just mildly annoyed that she was still talking. What donation? Bondi opened the portfolio. The $847 billion transfer to an entity listed as Epstein Island Charitable Foundation. The room did not go silent. It went still. There is a difference. Silence is the absence of sound. Stillness is the absence of movement. Nobody in that room moved. Nobody breathed. Trump's advisors froze mid-gesture, and Trump himself did something he almost never does in confrontational moments. He paused. Not a strategic pause, not a calculated delay, a genuine, visible, uncontrolled pause. 47 seconds of it. If you have made it this far and this matters to you, subscribe now and hit the bell, because what comes next is the part that would never make it to cable news in full context. Trump recovered, his face reset, his posture straightened, and he said the 3 words he always says when he is buying time. I don't know. Bondi did not blink. You don't know about an $847 billion transaction from accounts you personally control? Trump's tone shifted. Not angry yet, not defensive yet, but sharper. I control a lot of accounts. I sign off on a lot of things. You're going to have to be more specific. Bondi pulled a document from the portfolio. She did not hand it to him. She placed it on the table between them. Face up. A financial disclosure form, federal filing. Public record, technically, but buried so deep in appendices and subschedules that nobody without a forensic accountant would ever find it. This specific, Bondi said. Trump looked at the document. He did not pick it up. He did not lean forward. He just looked. And then he said the sentence that told everyone in that room he knew exactly what she was talking about. That was a charitable contribution. Bondi let that sentence sit for a moment. She wanted it on the record. She wanted witnesses to hear it. She wanted Trump to commit to that explanation before she pulled out the next document. A charitable contribution, she repeated, to the Epstein Island Charitable Foundation. Trump's jaw tightened. It was a foundation. Foundations do charitable work. That's what they do. What charitable work? Trump did not answer immediately. That pause was longer than the first one. Bondi pressed. What specific charitable work was the Epstein Island Charitable Foundation doing that justified an $847 billion donation from your accounts? Trump's voice got harder. You'd have to ask them. I did. The room temperature dropped 10 degrees. Bondi pulled out a second document. The foundation dissolved in 2019. All records were sealed under a non-disclosure settlement tied to federal investigations. The only financial activity on record is the $847 billion inbound transfer from your accounts and a series of outbound payments to offshore entities with no disclosed recipients. Trump stared at her. Not at the document. At her. Where did you get that? Bondi's expression did not change. It's in the Federal Archive. It's public record. It's just not advertised. Drop a comment right now and tell me if you think Trump knew Bondi had these documents before this meeting, because what happens next suggests he absolutely did not. Trump stood up, not aggressively, not theatrically, just stood. This meeting is over. Bondi stayed seated. Mr. President, this is not a political question. This is a legal question. I am your Attorney General. If there is a legal explanation for this transaction, I need to hear it now before someone else asks. Someone else? Trump's voice went cold. Who else is asking? Congress, Senate Finance Committee. They have the same documents I have. They are scheduling hearings. Trump turned to his advisors. Did you know about this? Both of them shook their heads. He turned back to Bondi. You brought this to Congress before you brought it to me? I didn't bring it to Congress. It was already there. I found out because a Senate staffer called my office asking for DOJ comment. Trump's hands went to his hips. That is his tell. When Trump does not know what to say next, his hands go to his hips. Bondi kept going. The hearing is in 6 days. They are calling it Oversight of Executive Branch Financial Transparency. Your name is on the witness list. I'm not testifying. You don't have a choice. It's a subpoena hearing. What you are watching right now is not a standard political fight. This is not Democrats versus Republicans. This is not left versus right. This is Donald Trump's own Attorney General telling him that his financial records are about to be dissected in a public congressional hearing, and there is nothing he can do to stop it. And the look on Trump's face when he realized that is something you need to see to believe. Trump sat back down. Slowly. What do they think they have? Bondi slid a third document across the table. They have the same thing I have. A donation to an entity named after Jeffrey Epstein's Island. A donation made 2 years after Epstein's death. A donation with no disclosed purpose, no disclosed recipients, and no disclosed outcomes. Trump picked up the document this time. He read it in silence. And then he said something that made both of his advisors look at each other. You made this donation. Bondi's expression froze. Excuse me? You? When you were Florida AG, you made a donation to this same foundation. I have the records. Bondi's voice stayed level, but something shifted behind her eyes. I made a $25,000 donation in 2013 as part of a victims fund settlement. That donation is public record. It is documented, and it was made before Epstein's crimes were fully known. And my donation, Trump said, also public record, also documented. So what's the difference? The difference is $846,999,975,000. The number hung in the air. Trump did not respond immediately. When he did, his voice was quieter. That money was not mine. Bondi leaned forward. Then, whose was it? I don't know. Mr. President, I don't know. Trump's voice got harder. I sign things. I approve things. I don't personally track every dollar that moves through every account. That's what accountants are for. Your accountants are the ones who filed this disclosure. Trump looked at his advisors again. Get me the accountants. Now. One of them pulled out a phone. Bondi kept going. Even if the accountants made a mistake, the disclosure is filed. It is public. It is on record. And in 6 days, you are going to be asked under oath where that $847 billion went. And I will tell them the same thing I am telling you. I don't know. That is not going to be good enough. Subscribe now, because what happens next is the moment this entire confrontation shifts from financial questions to something much darker. Trump stood again. This time he walked to the window. He looked out at the golf course for a long moment. When he spoke, his back was still turned. Pam, do you know why I made you Attorney General? Bondi did not answer, because I thought you understood how this works. I thought you understood loyalty. I understand the law. Trump turned around. The law. He laughed, not a happy laugh. The law is whatever Congress says it is this week. You think they care about the law? They care about the headline. They care about the subpoena. They care about making me sit in a chair and answer questions designed to make me look guilty no matter what I say. Then tell me the truth now so I can prepare a defense. I just did. I don't know. You don't know where $847 billion went? No. Bondi closed the portfolio. Then we have a problem. The meeting ended 3 minutes later. No handshake, no goodbye. Trump walked out first. Bondi stayed in the room for another 2 minutes. One of the advisors who was present later told a reporter that Bondi sat there staring at the documents on the table like she was deciding something. What she decided, we now know. Because 18 hours later, Bondi's office released a statement. A short statement, 2 paragraphs. The first paragraph confirmed that the DOJ was aware of congressional inquiries into executive branch financial disclosures. The second paragraph said this: the Department of Justice is committed to full transparency and cooperation with all lawful oversight processes. No individual, regardless of position, is above accountability. That last sentence was not in the original draft. Bondi added it herself, and when Trump saw it, he called her directly. The call lasted 9 minutes. Nobody knows exactly what was said, but 2 hours after that call, Trump posted on truthsocial.Pam Bondi is a disaster. Hired her thinking she understood the mission. She doesn't. She's working with the swamp now. Epstein Hoax Part 2. Same playbook, same lies. Won't work. If you are still watching, you understand that what you just witnessed is not just a political story. This is a fracture. Trump and Bondi were allies for over a decade. She defended him during impeachment. She defended him during investigations. She defended him when nobody else would. And now she is sitting across from him with documents that he cannot explain and she cannot ignore. The $847 billion is real. The Epstein Island Foundation name is real. The federal disclosure is real. The only question left is why. Why would Trump sign off on a transfer that large to an entity with that name? And why would Bondi risk everything to bring it to his attention before Congress does? There are 3 theories circulating right now. Theory 1. Trump did not know. The money moved through accounts he technically controlled but never personally monitored. Accountants made the transfer. He signed the paperwork without reading it. And now he is stuck explaining something he genuinely does not understand. Possible? Yes? Likely? Ask yourself if Donald Trump signs anything without knowing what it says. Theory 2. Bondi is covering herself. She knew about the donation years ago. She may have even facilitated it. And now that Congress has the records, she is distancing herself before the subpoena arrives. Possible? Yes. Likely. Ask yourself why she would confront Trump privately if her goal was public separation. Theory 3. Neither of them knows the whole story. The $847 billion went somewhere. Someone authorized it, someone received it, and whoever that someone is, they are not in that room. The congressional hearing is in 4 days. Trump has not confirmed whether he will comply with the subpoena. Bondi has not commented further. And the $847 billion? Still unaccounted for. The financial records show the outbound transfer. They show the Epstein Island Foundation as the listed recipient. They show the foundation dissolving 6 months later. What they do not show is where the money went after that offshore accounts, undisclosed recipients. No paper trail. $847 billion does not just disappear. It gets moved. It gets hidden. It gets protected, and someone, somewhere, knows exactly where it is. What you watched in that Mar-a-Lago conference room was not a resolution. It was an exposure. 2 people who protected each other for years suddenly realizing that protection has limits. 2 people who built careers on loyalty suddenly discovering that loyalty has a price. And that price, in this case, is $847 billion. The documents are filed. The hearing is scheduled. The subpoena is issued. This does not go away. It does not fade. It does not get buried in the next news cycle, because the number is too big. The name is too recognizable, and the silence from both of them is too loud. Subscribe now. Share this everywhere. The pressure has to stay on, because the question is not whether this donation happened. It is documented. The question is not whether Trump knew about it. He signed the disclosure. The question is, where did $847 billion go, and who is protecting the answer? And we are getting very close to finding out exactly who benefits when that question never gets asked.